You know, it has to be one of the most frustrating things in the world of fitness. You're doing everything right, you're making changes, your arms are getting leaner, your face is looking sharper, but that stubborn belly fat, it just refuses to go anywhere. It almost feels personal, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the science of exactly when, and more importantly, why your body finally decides to let go of that abdominal fat. It's a really fascinating biological dance, so let's get right into it.
So, why does it cling on for dear life? Well, here's the thing. Your body doesn't see belly fat as just some extra padding. From an evolutionary standpoint, it's an emergency fuel tank, and it's also a protective cushion around your most vital organs. It's kind of designed to be hormonally stubborn, which means your body views it as the absolute last resort for energy.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we're going to walk through 4 key stages. We'll start with that deceptive weight drop in the first week, then we'll look at your body's internal negotiation, then the moment it finally flips that fat-burning switch, and finally, what it really takes to cross the finish line for good.
Okay, let's kick things off with week 1. You know the one, that almost magical phase where the number on the scale drops so fast, it feels like you've totally cracked the code. But what's really happening here is a little bit of a biological trick.
See, when you first cut back on calories, your body's first move isn't to burn fat. Nope. It taps into its built-in backup battery, something called glycogen. And here's the crucial detail you have to remember. For every single gram of this sugar it burns, your body's also holding on to almost 3 grams of water along with it.
And that water-to-glycogen ratio is everything. As your body burns through that backup battery in the first week, all of that attached water gets flushed out. This is exactly why you can see such a huge drop on the scale, often somewhere between 2 and 4 kilos. It feels amazing, but it's not fat. Not yet, anyway.
So it's really important to get this distinction straight in your head. That initial whoosh of weight loss, it's pretty much all water. Now don't get me wrong, it's a necessary first step. It's a sign your body is getting ready for a much deeper metabolic shift. But it is not the main event. True fat loss, well, that's what comes next.
And this is why so many people get discouraged and just give up. After that initial drop, the scale slows way down, or maybe it even stops completely. But you have to see this plateau for what it really is. It's not a sign of failure, it is the exact opposite. It's proof that your body has burned through its easy fuel and is now getting ready to tap into its real energy stores. The real work is just about to begin.
All right, let's move on to our second section, because this is where things get interesting. By about week 2, your body recognizes a consistent pattern. Less food is coming in. And this kicks off this quiet internal negotiation that's all driven by hormones, by stress, and by these ancient survival instincts.
Your body starts something called metabolic adaptation. Now, it's not trying to sabotage you. It's actually a brilliant survival response. Your system just becomes a little more efficient with the energy it has, trying to protect you from what it thinks might be a famine. It's a totally normal and expected part of this whole process.
And this is where we find out who's really running the show. Think of your hormones as the silent conductors of this whole metabolic orchestra. Whether you burn fat smoothly or you just hit a massive wall of frustration is almost entirely decided by the chemical signals that they're sending out. Now, there are 3 main players conducting this orchestra. You've got insulin. That's the gatekeeper. When it's high, it locks fat away. For your body to even think about accessing its fat stores, insulin has to be low. Then you have cortisol, the stress hormone, and leptin, which tells your brain when you're full. For fat loss to actually happen, all 3 of these need to be working together, not fighting each other.
Okay, let's zero in on cortisol for a second, because this one is directly tied to our big question. When cortisol is chronically high, it sends a powerful signal to your body to store energy, and its favorite place to store that energy is right around your midsection.
And the thing is, your body doesn't know the difference between being chased by a predator and modern-day stress. So things like long work days, not getting enough sleep, emotional strain, and yeah, even the anxiety you might feel about dieting can all spike your cortisol, basically telling your body, hey, lock down that belly fat.
Okay, so after a few weeks of being consistent, your body finally hits a turning point. Your glycogen stores are low, your insulin levels have dropped, and your system finally gets ready to flip that switch and start using fat as its main fuel source.
You start to enter a state called metabolic flexibility. This is what your body was designed to do, to efficiently switch between different fuel sources. You won't feel some sudden jolt, but you'll notice these subtle changes, like more stable energy, fewer cravings, and maybe even sharper focus. It means your body is now running on a cleaner, more efficient fuel.
But here's where it gets really, really cool.
Your body doesn't just burn fat. It actually burns two very different kinds. You've got visceral fat. That's the dangerous stuff that's wrapped around your organs. It's really active metabolically, and it's linked to a lot of health problems. And then you have subcutaneous fat. That's the soft, pinchable layer that's right under your skin.
And here it is. This is the single most important takeaway from this whole section. Your body prioritizes your health over your appearance. It targets that dangerous visceral fat first, because that's the stuff that can cause inflammation and mess with your organs. This is exactly why you might notice your health improving, like better blood sugar, way before you see huge changes in the mirror.
So to finally answer our big question, when does it happen? Well, this timeline lays it all out pretty clearly. After the water loss of week 1 and the adaptation of week 2, the real breakdown of belly fat usually kicks in somewhere between weeks 3 and 6 for most people who stick with a consistent plan. This is when the visible progress really starts.
Getting to that fat-burning stage is a huge accomplishment, but staying there, that requires a shift from thinking about a short-term diet to building a long-term system. It's really all about creating an environment where fat loss is just the natural result.
The key here, and it's a big one, is to avoid extremes. We've all heard eat less, move more, but that's just way too simple. A smart, moderate calorie deficit of about 15 to 20% below your maintenance sends a message of safety to your body. It allows it to let go of fat without triggering a full-on panic response and slowing everything down.
Look, lasting success really comes down to these 4 pillars. It's not just about the food you eat. It's a combination of smart nutrition, moving your body consistently to boost your metabolism, getting quality sleep to keep your hormones in check, and managing your stress to keep that fat-storing cortisol hormone from taking over.
And how do you know you're actually there? Forget the scale for a minute. Seriously, look for these signs instead. Your energy is stable all day. Your sugar cravings just disappear. Your hunger is predictable, not some desperate feeling. Your clothes start to fit differently, and you just feel better. Your mood and sleep have improved. These are the real signs that your body is running on fat.
So this brings us to our final thought, and it's a powerful one. The biology is crystal clear. If you are consistent, fat loss is basically inevitable. The system works. So the real challenge then isn't biological, it's psychological. The science is on your side. But success ultimately comes down to whether you have the patience and the persistence to still be there when it all starts to happen.
Click the subscribe button to stay updated with VitalSpan Labs.